You've seen them on TV and enjoyed their mistakes on YouTube. But have you ever wondered what it takes to be a TV personality? Join us as we tag along with the 33's Dawn Tongish and see what it takes to be a TV news reporter.
Being a news reporter forces me to search for the nuts and bolts of a story, to make it something that you can relate to quickly and easily. It takes a full day, sometimes a lot of days of research and planning to come up with the 3 minutes that you'll see on the air. It all starts at the pitch meeting, and that's where the reporters huddle up with the producer, the assignment editor, and the news director to decide what stories we're going to cover that day. Now, I always bring 3 or 4 ideas to the table. Sometimes I'm fortunate enough to get to follow one of those stories, but other days it'll be a different story for me to cover, and my story for this day is a new DWI law that is being proposed. Now, once our assignments are decided upon, that's when the real work begins. If I don't already have them lined up, then the interviews have to be set up and the details have to be hashed out. So now we're just trying to find interviews for this story that we're doing on repeat DWI offenders. And the tough part is that you have to find people who are in town. The first state representative who I called is out of town because he's a lawyer and he's taking depositions in Kansas. So now we have to move on and try to find someone who's actually in their office on a Friday. So sometimes it's tough. Also, it can be really difficult, but we sometimes have to reach out to family members who are dealing with a recent loss. So that's one of the hardest calls to make as a reporter, because I was calling a man who has just lost his wife and his 13-year-old stepdaughter to a suspected repeat drunk driver. And so as a reporter, we have to make those calls. And they're really difficult because he's still in grief and he's still mourning the loss of his family. But sometimes family members do want to talk to us and they want to share their story, and it helps people understand the tragedy of something like drunk driving. The phone calls continue throughout the day, but we're on our way to our first interview, and this one takes us all the way to Argyle. When you're trying to talk to people on short notice, you have to go wherever they are. And this man invited us into his home since our story touched on something that's close to his heart. His role in this story is informational. He's the legislative liaison for Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
The defendant in this case ignored the law, apparently, and drove in spite of an order that he had against an interlock on the car that he runs.
Next, we visited a high school in Argyle where students were still grieving from the loss of one of their own to a drunk driver. Now, their role in the story is the human, emotional connection. They illustrate how this kind of story impacted their life and how it can affect yours.
It makes me angry because we'll never see her again.
After some emotional interviews, I stepped outside to do my tease for the 33tv.com. That's our website. It has news updates and all kinds of other information. Hi, I'm Dawn Tongish, and this is what I'm working on tonight for 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I'll also post what I'm doing to my Facebook page. Next, we head back to the newsroom so I can log everything that we shot. I write my story and I prepare it for air. Now, logging lets me know what video and sound bites are available to use in my story. And writing the story can sometimes be challenging because you have to get the legalistic stuff in without losing the emotional impact of the story. Brain food, that's what I call it. Sugar burst, brain food. Now that I'm writing my story, brain food. Finally, I hop into the sound booth and record my voiceovers for the package on tonight's news and hand off the story to my photographer, who edits it into the final product that you'll see in your living room.
As the 33's Dawn Tongish reports, an Easter Sunday tragedy prompted the call for 2 strikes, and the driver's license is gone.
Oh my, I miss her so much.
For this trio, the hallways at Argyle Middle School aren't the same after losing their friend, 13-year-old Autumn Caudle, to a suspected drunk driver.
Now that you've seen what it takes to be a TV news reporter, follow all of our reporters from the 33 on the 33 News, weekdays at 5 and 9 on the 33, Cable Channel 9.